Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
The Rose.
Dora, yes, she's here.
Okay.
You want to say something? Or
No, I've heard a lot about the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. And look, he has a monocle. Isn't this fantastic? Two of them have monocles. And it's very nice to be here. It's very nice to see you.
And Sven has the first question.
Divine Miss Rose, please tell me, how many scripts did you read before you accepted the role?
Oh, I guess I've been through about 150.
130. And also your name for Bette Davis. Is she one of your favorites?
Yes, yes, I'm a big fan of hers. For a long I didn't know what her charm was until I grew up, you know. My mother talked about her a lot. I was more into Esther Williams, that sort of thing.
Yes, where does one go after the role?
Well, you see, I really don't know. I guess I was so surprised and elated at all this, at the reaction to the film. I thought when I first saw it, I thought it was good, but I had no idea it was going to be, you know, it was going to take off the way it seems to be taking off. And it makes me very happy. The one question that's sort of dogging my heels is, what will I do next? And I imagine the answer to that would be another musical. Not a character as rough as that, but I like the idea of singing in films. I really do like it. I think it would have to be a musical character, and so that the scope of the film would be at least as big as that of The Rose. I could be wrong. Then again, I could be wrong.
Dora?
You took a character that some people think is unsympathetic and made her very sympathetic. In what way or in what ways could you identify with this woman? You made us feel, while we were watching the picture, this great illusion that you were her. And could you tell us what you found in her character to identify with?
Well, I have some memories of that kind of unhappiness, that kind of panic. I just drew on these memories of my own. I rather did identify with the character, not in terms of the drinking or the moving so fast, but in terms of being not really having a center, you know, not really having anything that you like about yourself to hang on to. I'm not as, I don't think I have, this is kind of hard with all these photographers. I don't think I have the as much pain in my life as she did, but I've had enough pain that I could remember, you know, and go when the scene called for it, go to those memories, which are still very, very fresh in my mind. In other words, the girl just didn't like herself, you know, and I know a lot of people like that, and I've spent a lot of time feeling that way about myself. You know, I mean, I've come through it because you know, as a human being, you really do have to sort of work through all that and not let that stop you from working or anything. Stop you from creating. But I'm very familiar with that aspect of the character, and so I guess I would have to say that I used that. You know, when you have that, you don't really have anything to hang on to in yourself, and you sort of reach out and look around for anything to fill up that void, and that's sort of the way I looked at that character. Everything, her clothes were always falling off of her. She lived out of a bag. She had no home, actually, she had no home, and there was no one home inside of her. And I sort of understand that. It's a theme that's run through my work actually ever since I started working, that homeless waif quality. I'm not making any sense at all.
Yes, you are.
Before we
Yes.
continue, could we ask the photographers to put it down for 10 minutes, then we can continue.
I'm having a little trouble thinking with the lights in my eyes.
Yeah, okay.
Could you explain what it was that you didn't like about yourself and how you overcame it? Incidentally, I wrote a book called You're Better Than You Think, and I think you're wonderful.
Well, my family's very negative. I come from, everyone has, most people are brought up in a family, and people fall into habits about, like, if your parents are brought up in the Depression, they tend to be very conservative about money. They tend to think that, if they were very poor in the Depression, which a lot of people were during those times, which my parents were, that you tend to be afraid about money, to be afraid that, you're never going to have a buck, or you're never going to be able to keep a buck, or someone's going to take you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, my family's a very negative kind of family, and they struggled for a long time to become positive, but they never quite succeeded. And so it was never yes with my family, it was always no. And I was brought up within that, and I have a lot of that, that sort of tentativeness about life, being afraid, afraid of dark streets, and afraid of turning the corner, and afraid of strangers, and do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
And so I have that. It was piled on me for I don't. What kind of group therapy is this? It was piled on me for many, many years. For many, many years, and I really had to work very hard to break out of that, and to be able to let other people into my life and say, yes, I deserve friends, and yes, I deserve lovers, and yes, I'm good enough to keep going. I mean, inside, way deep inside, there was always a little voice that said, yes, it's all right, yes, you're okay. But then there's so many old habits to break out of, and that's sort of what I used in the character, that I felt that she was a girl without a family, actually. Oh, God, we're getting very serious. I felt that she was a girl without a family, and that's what I used. I used my own family a lot in creating this character, They don't mean to do it. It's just their old habits, another generation's old habits that they couldn't break out of, and they don't mean it to be. They don't mean for their actions to have such an effect on their children, but unfortunately they don't know any better, Gee.
You started.
Gee, I'm getting so depressed.
When you started your career, you were working on a very different character. It was the Divine Museum.
Well, you see, now the Divine was my like the breakout. Was just the total breakout against all this thing that I had been brought up with. The Divine just didn't give a damn. I mean, the Divine was bigger than life, and was superior to her past, and didn't care what anyone said about her, and would say horrible things about anyone because she didn't care. And that was like my antithesis, was like my reaction against all this negativity that I came out of, because the Divine really is extremely positive, and totally optimistic. And doesn't care who she steps on, because she knows she will survive. It was really that's very astute of you. It was a real strong reaction to get myself out of that.
But you've given up that character.
Oh no, I would never give her up. Never, ever. I would never give her up. I've always loved those kind of women who are larger than life, like Auntie Mame. Was like a very mythical figure in my mind. I really believed that Auntie Mame lived, and that she had a wonderful, wonderful time. And ever since I found her, ever since I saw Auntie Mame, or read the Auntie Mame books, and the Mary Poppins books, people like that, I don't know what it is. I think I have a small emotional retardation. I just identified very strongly with those characters, and have always believed that inside of this short woman, this short, buxom woman, is a very tall, elegant woman who lives on Beekman Place, trying to get out. You know, what can I say?
Sylvia?
Yes, but I have two questions. One is, since this was your first film, what problems did you encounter during the filming? I mean, during the
None.
difficult scenes?
I had no problems. I had no problems. It was a lark from start to finish. It was the happiest, I must say, the most fun I ever had on any kind of project. It was a ball. I mean, I was expecting for it to be very, I mean, the character is very grim. And when people ask me about it, they want me to, I mean, I always get the feeling that people want me to say, oh, how I suffered, and oh, I was in such emotional, you know, my blocks, and I had to prepare. It wasn't like that at all. It was just a hoot. It was just, I looked forward to every single day. And we all, I mean, I don't think there was anybody who worked on it who didn't really thoroughly enjoy him or herself. It was just great.
The other question was, what do you do when you're not working, like at home? How do you spend your time?
I don't hardly ever not work. I always work.
Well, I mean,
Working is my fun. I enjoy it. I like fantasizing about stage shows, and I like thinking of demented costumes to wear, and I like learning new songs, and I like watching other performers, and I just like all of it. And so I'm always immersed in it. I read constantly, and I look at pictures constantly, and I watch video constantly, and
listen to music.
I listen to music. I mean, it's endlessly fascinating to me. Everybody who works in the field is endlessly fascinating to me, and that's what I do on my off hours.
Alan?
Yes, but it's not your first film, no? You did something before this, didn't you, before the role?
I did a lot of extra work. I never had a feature film, no. It's my first feature
Advertised you
film.
in some film just coming out.
That's a strange case. It's legally they're not supposed to do that. We had a fight with them a few years ago. It's a home movie that I did. It was a student's project, a film student's project in Detroit that I did sort of on a weekend when I wasn't working. I was working in Canada, and I came to Detroit to do this, what I thought was a student's project, you know, and the fellow turned out to be nothing short of a scumbag. And has tried to make, you know, it's too bad because I'm in it for 3 seconds, you know.
Oh, just like the Robin Williams thing.
Yes,
did.
yes.
Mark?
Oh, yes. And when you did the film, I watched you in live concert. You always like improvise. Did you improvise in this?
There's a
film?
lot of improvisation, yes.
You didn't follow the script the way.
Generally, it's all the ideas are there, but there was a good deal of improvisation in it, yes.
And then on the concert performance, or
All
also
the
in
concert
also-
performances, all the staging of the concert performances is improvised. The movement, a lot of the movement was suggested to me by a choreographer that I've worked with for a long time, named Toni Basil. She and I took a lot of classes together, and we worked out the way this character was supposed to walk and what she was supposed to do with the microphone and all that sort of thing. But that was all improvised. None of that was set. And there was a good deal of the dialogue also that, you know, if it was uncomfortable, Mark Rydell's the kind of director who likes actors. And, you know, if an actor is uncomfortable with playing a scene with these lines, he'll say, well, just get the general idea, you know. And a lot of wonderful moments came out of that kind of improvisation.
How does it feel? Are you looking forward to maybe getting the Oscar or?
Gee. Well, I'd have to say the thought has crossed my mind recently. I mean, when we made the film, I didn't think anything about it. I thought, you know, a film's a film. There's lots of films out there that don't get, you know, very far. I was just hoping for a box office hit, I mean, I really was. I think it's if you're going to be in film, you always hope for a success. It never crossed my mind, the part about the award, but recently, I guess, with everybody talking, it has crossed my mind. But the competition is really too fierce even to really consider. I mean, there's Sally Field and there's Miss Piggy and. You know, it's hard. It's really hard. One mustn't get too carried away with that sort of thing.
You wouldn't turn it down, though, would you?
I have no reason to turn it down.
I wanted to ask you, when you started on Broadway, and the visions that you have, or the hopes that you have of success, and now it seems that you've conquered all medias. Is it what you want, what you expect it to be? How different is it?
Well, it's almost exactly the same. It's just this. No, I mean the dreams are all sort of dissipated. There aren't any left. It's an awful lot of work. I mean, I thought when you got to a certain point, you sort of like it would get easier, but it doesn't get any easier. It just gets harder and harder. And the thing is that I used to be so tacky, you know. I used to walk around New York City with this great big bag of music. And people used to, you know, really laugh at me. All my friends used to laugh at me and say, "We always know it's you because you're getting a hump on your back from carrying that music bag." You know, they always know it's my bag because my bag was the biggest bag and it was always full of music. And I'm still carrying around a great big bag full of music. It doesn't get any different. You know, I mean, there's still not enough time, and there's, you know, it's very strange. That's why I said earlier, I keep waiting for my life to change, you know. I keep waiting for suddenly all these butlers and maids to appear, you know, in uniform, you know, and to do my nails and brush my hair, and it's just not happening. I still have to do it all myself. It's very odd.
And about your family, what
What I didn't realize is you have to hire them, and then you have to pay them, which is even worse.
what about your family? How now?
Oh, where they're all flabbergasted. They're all just flabbergasted. They're all just freaked. Everyone's going, "What is happening?" I mean, because there was, you know, they used to have a little bit of that in the early days, in the early 70s when I was doing shows on Broadway, and they would call for tickets. They would be very sort of like, they didn't think it was very, you know, they never thought it was going to get this far. I mean, nobody ever thought I would get this far, least of all me. I mean, sometimes I stand in the shower and I say to myself, I really do. Because I can't believe that I came carrying a bag of music. And I've got this far. It just staggers me. I can't believe it. I think it's hysterically funny. Don't you think it's funny?
Lisa.
Yeah, here.
You said 90% of your life is work and you love it, and 10% of your life is love and you love it. Would you then consider yourself as a truly happy person?
I don't think there's anything even remotely like a truly happy person. I don't think there is any such animal. I think there are contented people, and people who are satisfied, and people who are euphoric at some times and terribly sad at other times. But I don't think there is such a thing as a perfectly happy person, unless they're an idiot. I mean, unless they're, you know what I'm saying? Unless they have no eyes, and, you know, I can't see what's around them. I would say I was closer to satisfaction than I used to be. I feel satisfied.
Francis.
How much of the roles you own experience? How much of the roles?
Oh, a good deal of it. There's a lot of stuff in it that's a lot like me. It's hard for me to put it into, to be specific and to say, well, that moment is like me and that moment is like me. But there's a lot.
How about in seeing you in New York and your officer wanted to take off for 1 or 2 years since you disappeared once?
I disappeared for 3 months and I haven't been able to live it down since. Jesus.
Yeah, look for it.
I know about show business. You see, it's a good thing I made this movie, because this subject is a subject that I absolutely know backwards and forwards. I mean, I know rock and roll. I've been in it for close to 10 years. So I know what goes on. I know about rack jobbers. I know about payoff. I know about payola. I know about the radio. I know about stage hands. I know about lighting people, sound people, guitar players. I know that stuff inside and out. So for me, I would have to say that a lot of that stuff I brought with me, and the man that used to manage me, Aaron Russo, we both of us brought to this film an awful lot of background. I mean, there was things in the script that we knew were wrong, that we would say, oh, a manager would never book an artist this way, or it doesn't matter what this kind of agent says because he doesn't matter in the long run. I mean, show business machinations we were totally familiar with. So we brought all that knowledge to the film. I think that's why the film looks almost like a documentary and sounds like a documentary, because it's a subject that we all were really familiar with. So that much of it, I would have to say, is me. I brought a lot of that to it. As far as drugs and alcohol go, I've had a few, I've had done my share of it. I've never been a junkie. I've never been addicted to anything. But I've been stoned enough to where I know what it feels like, and I've had a lot of friends die from it, so I know what that feels like too. And I know about rejection, and I know about singing in front of an audience, and all those things are things that I brought to it. So I would have to say, yes, I would have to say a lot of that character is me.
Well, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for questions, as Ms. Miller has to leave. We're going somewhere.
Yes.
But we still have a good.
Thanks, guys and gals. Oh.